Hello, it's Tom here. Today we're reading letter 8 from Seneca to Lucilius, which is on the philosopher's seclusion. I'm excited, I hope you are too. I hope you're enjoying these. I am. Every one a day, it's great. I'm really enjoying this. So if you've just joined us and wondering what's going on, I am reading the letters of Seneca to his mate Lucilius from about 2,300 years ago. And in it, Seneca is basically he's passing on these messages, these kind of moral lessons to Lucilius, and it all forms part of the sort of Stoic mentality. And each one's on a different topic, and they're really good. And after I finish reading it, we'll talk about it, or I'll talk about it, and you can pop a comment in the comment section. But whatever you do, click subscribe. Let's do some philosophy, because that's what this is. All right, lovely. On the philosopher's seclusion. Let's go. Letter 8. Do you bid me, you say, shun the throng and withdraw from men and be content with my own conscience? Where are the counsels of your school which order a man to die in the midst of active work? As to the course which I seem to you to be urging you on now and then, my object in shutting myself up and locking the door is to be able to help a greater number. I never spend a day in idleness. I appropriate even a part of the night for study. I do not allow time for sleep, but yield to it when I must. And when my eyes are wearied with waking and ready to fall shut, I keep them at their task. I have withdrawn, not only from men but from affairs, especially from my own affairs. I am working for later generations, writing down some ideas that may be of assistance to them. There are certain wholesome counsels, which may be compared to the prescription of useful drugs. These I am putting into writing, for I have found them helpful in ministering to my own sores, which, if not wholly cured, have at any rate ceased to spread. I point other men onto the right path, which I have found late in life when wearied wandering. I cry out to them, avoid whatever pleases the throng, avoid the gifts of chance. Hold before every good which chance brings you in a spirit of doubt and fear, for it is the dumb animals and fish that are deceived by tempting hopes. Do you call these things the gifts of fortune? They are snares, and any man among you who wishes to live a life of safety will avoid, to the utmost of his power, these lime twigs of her favour, by which we mortals, most wretched in this respect, are also deceived. For we think that we hold them in our grasp, but they hold us in theirs. Such a career leads us into precipitous ways, and a life on such heights ends in a fall. Moreover, we cannot even stand up against prosperity when she begins to drive us to leeward. Nor can we go down either with the ship, at least on her course, or once for all. Fortune does not capsize us. She plunges our bows under and dashes us on the rocks. Hold fast, then, to this sound and wholesome rule of life, that you indulge the body only so far as is needful for good health. The body should be treated more rigorously, that it may not be disobedient to the mind. Eat merely to relieve your hunger, drink merely to quench your thirst, dress merely to keep out the cold. House yourself merely as a protection against personal discomfort. It matters little whether the house be built of turf or variously coloured imported marble. Understand that a man is sheltered just as well by thatch as by a roof of gold. Despise everything that useless toil creates as an ornament and an object of beauty, and reflect that nothing except the soul is worthy of wonder. For to the soul, if it be great, naught is great. When I commune in such terms with myself and the future generations, do you not think that I am doing more good than when I appear as counsel in court, or stamp my seal upon a will, or lend my assistance in the Senate by word or action to a candidate? Believe me, those who seem to be busied with nothing are busied with the greater tasks. They are dealing at the same time with things mortal and things immortal. But I must stop and pay my customary contribution to balance this letter. The payment shall not be made from my own property, for I am still conning Epicurus. I read today in his works the following sentence. If you would enjoy real freedom, you must be the slave of philosophy. The man who submits and surrenders himself to her is not kept waiting. He is emancipated on the spot. For the very service of philosophy is freedom. It is likely that you will ask me why I quote so many of Epicurus's noble words instead of words taken from our own school. But is there any reason why you should regard them as sayings of Epicurus and not common property? How many poets give forth ideas that have been uttered or may be uttered by philosophers? I need not touch upon the tragedians and writers of national drama, but these last are also somewhat serious and stand halfway between comedy and tragedy. What a quantity of sagacious verses lie buried in the mine. How many of Publicus's lines are worthy of being spoken by buskin-clad actors, as well as by the wearers of the slipper? I shall quote one verse of his, which concerns philosophy, and particularly that phase of it which we were discussing a moment ago, wherein he says that the gifts of chance are not to be regarded as part of our possessions. Still alien is whatever you have gained by coveting. I recall that you yourself expressed this idea much more happily and concisely. What chance has made yours is not really yours. And a third, spoken by you still more happily, shall not be omitted. The good that could be given can be removed. I shall not charge this up to the expense account, because I have given it to you from your own stock. Farewell. Well, that was letter 8. Lovely, lovely letter 8 on the philosopher's seclusion, which, in it, Seneca basically goes, hey, I've shut myself away because I'm focusing on my mind and putting down some of the ideas I have for future generations. And he's kind of, and that's what he's saying. Like, he's saying, I'm really pushing myself to get this all down because I think it's very useful for other people. And he kind of goes on as well, as is his want, I suppose. He kind of goes, so he's like, I've shut myself away, I'm focusing on the mind, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, chance. It'll give you gifts, but don't trust them, because just as likely is that it will take him back and it will snatch them back from you. And then there's a quote which he has later on in the letter, which I think is absolutely brilliant, because we've all experienced this. Fortune does not capsize us. She plunges our bows under and dashes us on the rocks. So he's saying, if you've been sailing, you'll know that when a boat flips over, that's not great. But actually, it is possible to recapsize the boat so that it's the right way up, and then you just have to get some water out, and it's kind of not the end of the world, especially if it's a little sailing boat, because they're quite easy to do, especially the modern ones. So he's saying fortune doesn't just flip your boat. She plunges your bows under and dashes you on the rocks. And when the bows come underwater, the boat just floods with water and then just sinks. And he's saying not only does she plunge them under, so your boat's now filling quickly, she just smashes them on the rocks. Really destroys what's going on. We've all been there. I've had that with 3 lots of open heart surgery. When things go wrong, they go wrong massively. And so he's saying kind of don't always treat the good stuff knowing that there's going to be bad stuff. Kind of always be ready, always be mindful of that, which ties to a really important Stoic virtue of being able to minister your reactions. You can't control events, but you can control your reaction to events. And that's kind of what he's starting to get at there, which is beautiful. And then at the end, again, I love this, because at the end of the letters, he's always giving Lucilius these lovely little quotes, often from Epicurus. And in this one, he's just saying, like, look, I'm not going to give you one of my own quotes. I'll give you another one of Epicurus because no one's caught on yet. So Epicurus, he's just throwing them out. And it's, if you would enjoy real freedom, you must be the slave of philosophy. That's a nice quote. And the kind of idea behind that is, when we understand philosophy or start to appreciate philosophy, we understand why we're doing things, and we then have more control over what goes on. And so there's a kind of freedom in that knowledge of why we do things and what the right way is, and all that kind of stuff to unpick. there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this. I have. Drop me a comment, click subscribe. Let's do it. It's a pleasure. See you next time. Bye.